You want to know the best way to spend 4 days in Madrid, even if you're on a tight budget? Well, here's your perfect itinerary. Day 1. Day 1 of your trip to the capital city of Spain starts with a visit to Plaza Mayor. Now, this is one of Madrid's most iconic squares and is in the heart of the city near Puerta del Sol, easily accessible on foot or by metro, with the closest station being either Sol or Opera. It was built back in the 17th century by King Philip III, and it's been home to many historic events, like bullfights, royal events, even executions. Hopefully those can stay in the past. But inside the square, you're going to find the famous statue of King Philip, which is located right in the center and was constructed back in 1616. Other notable attractions inside are the Casa de la Panaderia, which is an iconic building, known for its elaborate frescoes depicting mythological scenes, and the famous 9 gates that lead you right into the square. Aiming to arrive here as early as possible is a great way to beat the crowds and get some truly epic photos. Plan to spend about an hour here before heading off to the next location. But before we go there, a great budget tip would be to avoid cafes here because they're a bit overpriced. And we've got a great food spot for you lined up later. Only a short 5-minute walk away is Puerta del Sol. This is the very heart of Madrid and is home to the famous Kilometer Zero plaque marking Spain's geographic center. This is also a great location to just sit back and relax your feet for 20 minutes and do some people watching as the busy city of Madrid passes you by. Now, for a late brunch on our first day, we're heading to Mercado de San Miguel. This is an elegant covered food market full of locals and tourists. Inside, you're going to experience Spanish cheese tasting, stalls selling traditional jamón iberico slices, and many vendors selling a variety of different snacks. Either grab a breakfast from here or grab a small snack like an empanada for about €2. Only a short 6-minute walk from here is the Royal Palace. This magnificent palace is the largest functioning one in Western Europe and has some stunning interiors like the throne room, the Hall of Mirrors, and the Royal Armory. Entry inside will cost you €16, but this will allow you to breeze past the line just like royalty, as these include the Skip the Line feature. A link to purchase these tickets will be left in the description below. A great tip to save even more money is to visit the palace between the hours of 4 p.m. and 6 p.m., as they offer the chance to visit inside for free. Aim to arrive here early, though, as the lines can quickly build up. Located right next to the palace is Almudena Cathedral, which is also well worth the visit. Here you can expect to find an impressive modern cathedral that blends neo-Gothic architecture and contemporary art. Entry here is free of charge, and you should aim to spend about 90 minutes between both attractions. Only a 3-minute walk away from the palace, you'll find La Taberna de Ramales, which serves up some classic Madrid dishes. This is a great location to grab a quick bite to eat for some lunch. A recommendation would be the Menu del Dia, which in English translates to the daily set menu. Now, in this, you're going to get a starter, a main course, a dessert, and a drink, all for about €13. That's a good deal. After the meal, time to walk it off with a 13-minute stroll toward Malasaña neighborhood. Now, this is the perfect location to stretch the legs and, again, walk off some of that food. In the neighborhood, you're going to find vintage shops, independent bookstores, streets filled with art, and plenty of cafes to sit around and enjoy a nice coffee. The street murals in this area are truly remarkable, so be sure to take some photos. The vintage shops in this area are great for browsing, but if you're sticking to a tight budget, then window shopping only is advised. Again, spending about 90 minutes in this area will give you plenty of time to see all it has to offer. 15 minutes away is arguably one of the best locations in the city for a sunset shot. Templo de Debod is an authentic ancient Egyptian temple that was relocated to Madrid. Here you can explore the small temple at the top for free while you wait for that perfect sunset shot. There's also a surrounding park that offers stunning views of Madrid's skyline. An evening stroll down Gran Via, which is only a short walk away, is the perfect way to spend your first evening. This street, which is known as Madrid's Broadway, is a lively street full of stunning architecture, and it gives off just a vibrant vibe. Here you're going to find many different shops and even theaters that showcase the biggest shows. Our plan here is to take our time strolling down the street while enjoying the lively atmosphere before ending up at our final destination for the evening, for a meal at Sidreria El Tigre. Now here you're going to find a famous tradition that locals love. Buying a drink for about €4 will allow you to also feast on a generous portion of Spanish tapas. You can expect to find a no-frill, chilled-out atmosphere here between locals and budget travelers. This is a perfect way to wrap up your first day exploring the beautiful city of Madrid. Hey, before we get on to day 2, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see how you can explore more cities from around the world. Day 2 focuses on some world-class art and multicultural neighborhoods, but first, let's get some breakfast. Let's stop by the Chocolateria Valor, but make sure it's the one just off the Gran Via where we spent the evening last night. It's a perfect place to grab a traditional Madrileños breakfast. Here you'll find a classic Spanish cafe serving up local authentic cuisine with a friendly atmosphere. Grabbing one of their thick Spanish hot chocolates with a side of churros is about €5, and it's a great way to start the day. Located a 20-minute walk away is our first attraction of the day, Museo del Prado. It's a world-renowned art museum that features some of the masterpieces created by artists like Velázquez Goya and El Greco. Entry inside is a little steep at €15, but it's well worth the visit if art is something that you're into. Just like the palace, though, they offer free entry from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday through Saturday, with Sunday being a little bit earlier at 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. If you wish to enter inside but you're cautious about your budget, then it might be worth coming back here in the evening for the free time slots. Now, right next door to the museum is the Real Jardin Botanico, which translated into English means botanical garden, if you couldn't guess. Now, the garden has a small entry fee for €4, but here you can wander among beautifully landscaped gardens, historic greenhouses, and exotic plants, all while enjoying the morning Spanish sun. The perfect time to spend between the two attractions is around 3 hours, which should bring us up to the start of the afternoon and perfect timing for our next location. Now, only a 5-minute walk away is El Retiro Park. Think Central Park in New York, but with sun. Now, I know that's hard to believe, right? But here you'll find a beautiful park filled with lakes, monuments, sculptures, and locals just enjoying daily life. Not only can you sit on the grass and relax your legs after a busy second morning walking around and exploring the city, but you can also visit the Palacio de Cristal, which is a stunning 19th century glass pavilion that's free to enter and filled with different art exhibitions. For €6, you can also rent out a small boat on Retiro Lake for 45 minutes. Spend about 90 minutes in this beautiful part of the city, and then that'll lead us perfectly into lunch at Restaurante Castellados, which is only about a 6-minute walk away. The traditional cozy bar serves up some great home-style Spanish dishes. For the same price as yesterday's lunch, you can get a menu del dia for about €13. Try a homemade classic like their macarons con tomate. Considering you're in central Madrid, this is fantastic value for money, keeping in line with our budget-friendly itinerary. Now, from here, we're jumping on our first form of public transport since we arrived into the center from the airport. Take the 7-minute walk to the metro station Menendez Pelayo Sáenz, and then travel 9 stops, which will take you about 20 minutes, and it takes you to Ronda de Valencia, leaving a short walk until we arrive at La Tabacalera. This former tobacco factory has been transformed into an alternative art center, and it's filled with murals, street art, and exhibitions. This is a free-to-enter venue and often hosts live events, workshops, and unique art galleries. From here, you can explore the Lavapiés neighborhood, where you can find more hidden street art murals that have been crafted by famous international artists. There's also plenty of independent shops and food spots in this area, so be sure to check them out. Spending about 2 hours between these two attractions should give you plenty of time to see what they have to offer. For the rest of the evening, before we head off for another authentic meal, the perfect location to sit and relax for a sunset is at La Casa Encendida. Now, this hidden gem offers free rooftop access, so you can just sit back and watch a memorable sunset over Madrid's skyline. Inside, they also offer a free art exhibition, which you can take time to explore if you arrive too early for the sunset. Once the sun has gone down, though, it's time to go and try some authentic food in a storied tavern that dates back to 1787. Don't worry, I hear the beer and sangria is fresh, though. Now, only a short walk away is Taberna de Antonio Sanchez. This spot is steeped in Madrid's cultural legacy and is a must-visit when in this part of the city. You'll find walls lined with bullfighting memorabilia showcasing the city's rich history. Trying an olla gitana is a traditional dish that's made up of mostly meat and a vegetable stew. The prices for the main course here is about €15, which again is great value for money. This wraps up our second day exploring and marks the halfway point of the trip. Let's talk some insider tips. Traveling around Madrid on a budget is easy thanks to its efficient and affordable public transport system and walkable city center. Purchasing a TTP card from one of the many metro stations in the city will allow you to travel on different forms of public transport. Buying a 10-trip ticket for €12.20 will allow you to travel on either the metro or via the bus. If you wish to only use the metro a handful of times, then just a single ticket will cost between €1.50 to €2, depending on the distance that you wish to travel. Buses are also a great and reliable way to travel the city, and these run from 6 a.m. until about 11:30 p.m. For short rides, consider renting a bike out from BC Mod. Now, these only cost about €0.50 for the first 30 minutes. Just download the app and then find the nearest docking station and enjoy. That's BICIMAD. But as always, the cheapest and most fun way, in my opinion, to explore is by walking. You can just simply take your time and potentially discover hidden gems that you may have missed if you were traveling by public transport. The airport's located about 13 kilometers away from the city center, and there are a few budget-friendly options to travel to and from the city depending on what terminal you arrive into. The metro's pretty fast and easy, with travel time being about 25 to 30 minutes and with fare prices running just €5. There's also an airport express bus, which again costs €5 and will run 24/7, but this is recommended more for people who are arriving late into the city. If you fly into Terminal 4, then there's the option of a direct train that runs into many different stations in Madrid, and this is also the cheapest form of transport, which costs only €2.60. Now, visiting in either spring or fall is by far the best time when you're on a budget. During these times, you can expect mild weather, fewer crowds, and lower hotel prices than during the summer. Staying in cheaper areas like La Latina, it can offer both cheap accommodations and are close to many major attractions that you'll be visiting while your 4-day trip, so that way you can save on public transport costs. Places like the OK Hostel Madrid and Hostel Rofer both have rooms for about €30 a night. It's a great deal. A link to Hostel World will be left in the description below. Let's get on to day 3. Now, day 3 sees us start nice and early with breakfast at Hacienda Alfonso XII. Aim to arrive here between 7 and 8 a.m., as we've got a busy day of traveling ahead of us. This elegant bakery serves up traditional pastries and artisan breads. Grab a café con leche and croissant for about €5, and then get ready to head off to the train station. Only a short walk down the street from breakfast is the Atocha station, and from here we're going to want to catch the Renfe high-speed Avant train. And this will take about 30 minutes and cost between €11 and €15, depending on whether you pre-booked or not. These trains leave every 30 to 60 minutes, so to maximize the time that we have at our destination, aim to catch the 8:30 train if you can. A great tip would be to sit on the left-hand side of the train, as this offers the most scenic views of the Spanish countryside before shortly arriving at our destination of, not Toledo for you Americans, Toledo. Now, after exiting the station, take the 22-minute walk up to the city walls and enter inside one of the most beautiful and historically significant cities in Spain. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and was once the former capital of Spain. On the way up to the city walls, you'll pass the iconic medieval bridge over the famous Tagus River. From here, head to the Plaza Mayor before starting your self-guided walking tour. This is a central meeting point and is filled with cafes and shops. It's just the perfect location to grab another coffee before we start the tour. From here, we'll take a short walk to Toledo Cathedral, which is one of Spain's most significant Gothic cathedrals. There's only a €10 entry fee, but this does also include an audio guide. This is an absolute must while visiting this truly one-of-a-kind city. Also, be sure to take your time to visit the Jewish Quarter, which showcases Toledo's rich Jewish heritage. Visiting the Synagogue of El Tránsito for €3 is another must while you're visiting those cobbled streets. Now, stopping to view one of the many hidden art galleries is also a fun way to spend your morning. There's also another beautiful place of religious worship in this small city, with the Mosque of Cristo de la Luz being a former mosque turned into a church back in the 10th century. This also requires a €3 entry fee. It should take you between 2 to 3 hours to explore this area, which would bring us to around 1 p.m., making it the perfect time for some lunch. Now, a brief 6-minute walk away from here is another one of the local favorites, Bar Ludenya. Now, this traditional Castilian tavern serves up some of the most authentic food in the area. While you're here, be sure to try some carcamusas, which is a Toledo specialty of pork stew in a tomato sauce with peas. Now, pairing this with either a beer or a house wine should only cost you about €12. Talk about a steal. Now, after you filled up on a traditional lunch, we're heading to arguably one of the best panoramic viewpoints in the city, Mirador de Valle. Now, here you can either take a 35-minute walk to the viewpoint or jump in a taxi for €6. Here you're going to expect to see Toledo's city skyline along with the city walls that are perched over the Tagus River. Now, this is a must-see photo spot when you're visiting the city. Take time once you've climbed to the top to relax and admire the view. For the rest of your afternoon, this is a truly remarkable city, so spend time grabbing a souvenir from one of the many shops, or maybe just take some time to have another beer, another glass of wine, and explore the many different narrow alleys that are hidden inside the city's walls. From here, it's back to the station that we originally arrived at, and back onto the Avant high-speed train. This should bring us back to Madrid around 6:30 p.m. Arriving back at Atocha station, it'll give us a 6-minute walk away where we'll have our evening meal, El Brillante. Now, this is one of the most iconic places in Madrid for the famous bocadillo de calamares, which is fried squid sandwiches for those who don't speak Spanish, like myself, obviously. Now, if you're like me, you're going to tuck into one of these sandwiches along with a big, frosty Spanish beer, and that'll cost you about €10, which makes this just the perfect place for an evening meal on a budget. You might even have enough money for seconds. Now, a great way to wrap up another fantastic evening in the city would be by experiencing one of Spain's most cultural experiences, which is a flamenco show at Café Zirab. Typically, showtime starts between 9 and 9:30 p.m. This gives us plenty of time to take the 20-minute walk over from the restaurant. Entry here might be a little pricey for some, costing about €32, but it does include a drink. And the show does last for an hour. Now, inside, you'll find a cozy candlelit venue that offers close proximity to the dancers and guitarists. It's also less touristy than other major flamenco shows. But if this is too much for your budget, no problem. Grab a gelato from Mistura Ice Cream and simply spend the night exploring the many streets of this marvelous city. Let's get on to day 4. We start your 4th and final day off with breakfast at La Rollerie Plaza Mayor. Now, this is the perfect location for an early start, with the doors typically opening around 8 a.m. This French-Spanish-style cafe is famous for its homemade pastries, artisan breads, and creative breakfasts. There are plenty of different options for you to choose from, but a cheap and classic option are the croissants and a coffee combo. You can tuck into one of these for about €5. A short 12-minute walk away from here is our first attraction of the day, Barrio de las Letras. Now, this area of Madrid was once home to some of Spain's greatest writers. It's a neighborhood steeped in rich history and tons of charm. Take time to wander the Calle de las Huertas, which in English translates to Street of the Gardens. Along these streets, you'll find quotes from writers that have been embedded in the pavement. You'll also find a host of independent bookstores and artisan shops. Only a short walk away is the Lope de Vega Museum. Now, entry inside is free, but there's another option to have a guided tour in English. But bear in mind that it's advised to book these online and in advance. This beautifully preserved home offers a time travel look into Spain's golden age. You can spend about 2 to 3 hours here between the attractions, and it should give you plenty of time to enjoy them all. Now, after, take a nice stroll down to La Latina via Cava Baja. Now, from the museum, it should take about 15 minutes to arrive on Cava Baja Street. From here, take time to stop to take photos of the historic taverns that line the streets. Plaza de Apaja is a particular serene and picturesque area. It's also a great spot to grab a coffee from one of the many cafes nearby before finding a bench to sit back and relax in the glorious sunshine. Now, a 20-minute walk back up into the heart of the city is Azotea del Círculo. Now, this laid-back rooftop restaurant is one of Madrid's best rooftop terraces that offers 360-degree views of the Gran Via, also the Metropolis building and the Cibeles Palace. For lunch in here, you have the option of a casual-style menu, or you can try some of their elevated tapas. After all, it is your final day. Now, meals here are super budget-friendly, considering the location and the quality of dishes. Here you can expect to pay about €20 for a meal and a drink. There's also a €5 fee to access the rooftop terrace, but this is deducted from your bill if you choose to dine upstairs. Only a short walk away from here is our next destination, which is the Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum. Now, this masterfully curated art collection features some of the world's most famous artists. Some of the notable ones are Van Gogh, Monet, Rembrandt, one of my personal favorites, and even Picasso. There's a €13 entrance fee to enter inside, but it's well worth the money, considering some of the pieces of art in that house in this grand building are just spectacular. Now, aim to spend about 2 hours in here, or maybe even a little more, as this will allow you to explore all that there is to offer. A great tip would be to grab one of the printed maps that they offer so you can be sure to target all of your favorite artists. For the rest of the afternoon before heading off for your final meal, spend some time just to relax in the park opposite to the museum, also known as Paseo del Prado. Now here you'll find a promenade that's lined with just historic buildings that are beautiful. Relax on one of the benches and watch as the locals go about their busy days. You might even be lucky enough to see some street musicians perform. From here, you'll also get to see the Neptune Fountain and the world-famous Ritz Hotel. Now, for our parting evening meal, we're going to spend it the classic Spanish way with some more tapas. La Dolores is only a 5-minute walk away from the park, which just makes it the perfect location to feast one last time. Now, inside, you're going to expect to find a traditional bar known for its vermouth on tap. Ooh! Now, ordering a few small plates of tapas while either standing at the bar or taking a seat is a perfect way to experience an authentic Madrid tavern for one final time. Prices in here are also budget-friendly, with a few plates costing you only about €12. After, feel free to explore more of the streets of this truly remarkable city as the sun sets for one last time And with that, well, that brings us to a close on our magical 4-day adventure in the capital of Spain. If you enjoyed this itinerary breakdown, then be sure to click the video on screen now to see how you can explore more cities from around the world. Adios!